just back up the workshop this morning to put some drone comb foundation into some new frames, because we want to augment our drone population and make more drones in a mating station. So what we do is I bought some foundation online and I'm putting it into brand new frames, and that will go into hives this afternoon. And that means in 40 days time, when I'm probably going to have my first virgins flying around, and for the rest of the summer I'll have an increased amount of drones per colony. Now, there's a lot of talk about this, but I personally find that even though we might have more varroa, because we don't A, remove drone comb, and B, work on that principle that the more drone comb you have, therefore you're going to have more varroa. We probably will have more in our colonies, but I can treat my apiaries all summer in my cell building yard, because it doesn't matter. I'm not using that for honey production, so I want to treat with oxalic acid, I want to treat with Apivar or anything like that I can do, so it doesn't make a problem. Personally, I don't have an issue. I find if you've got really prolific colonies that have low numbers at the start of the year in your cell building yard and in your nuke factories, you never see bad problems with varroa anyway. But it's something I bear in mind. So I'm going to be going into the workshop and we're going to put these into frames, and then they'll go into colonies this afternoon. What I also wanted to mention was, when you consider a normal colony in the wild, the amount of drones that they will produce will be considerably more than it would be in a hive. In other words, a hive that has foundation added, because the foundation that we add generally is of worker foundation, and naturally that suppresses the amount of drone comb that the bees will build, because we engineer it like that. We want maximum workers, don't we? But I think that people who use their own drawn out foundation, if you look at the comb, you actually see more. If you could count it, you see more natural drones produced. And I think those people who use that, is that they've got a point. And I think the point is that we're pushing our bees to the limit, and all we're doing is allowing them to produce worker brood, because we don't want the drones. They're technically inefficient, but with perhaps pesticide that may be reducing the sperm count of drones and other issues, is that the right thing to do? That's why I think that having the maximum amount of drones flying around is a good thing. And I think that culling drones for varroa control is a complete and utter farce. I think long term you benefit more by having more drones flying. You need to control your varroa at the right time and look at other ways of controlling varroa, not just removing drones. Drones are so important to a colony. I just feel really strongly about this. And all the evidence I've seen and I read all points towards the fact that that's the wrong thing to do in managing your bees. But that's just my opinion. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's only, it's gospel, but it's logic. You can't. You're taking a big part of the bees' reproduction away by culling drones and by reducing the natural drone comb in the colony. So if you augment it at the right time of year, just for those 3 months of the year, surely you're going to have better results, because it's the spring you want those queens to really get away, and they only get away when they're strong, prolific queens, and that's what gives you good colonies. That's what gives you good honey crops. That's what gives you good resistance to varroa, because the colonies are so strong. So I would agree with the sentiments of people who use foundationless beehives and they put in a starter strip and the bees do the rest. The only problem with that as a commercial beekeeper is often the frames get curved, and when you're in a hurry and you want straight combs and you're interchanging combs with nukes and hives, that makes difficulty. So for me, I prefer the foundation, but I'm aware of the issues it causes, and I'm aware there's a lack of drones within that foundation, because it's just worker comb, the foundation. So why not put in extra combs that are drone combs, because that's what we need. We need drones, but we just do it in a way that's augmenting it. All we're doing again is setting it up for the bees. They do the rest. They've got to build the comb out. They've got to lay eggs into it. They've got to produce the drones. This is all about looking at the bees and doing what they need, but doing it in a way that helps us. Because, as I said before, I can't have bent foundation in my colonies. But at the same time, I understand completely that we need extra drones. I really think it's so important. This is the foundation I bought online. Pretty pleased. It's actually foundation for Langsdorff frames. And it's actually a little bit, tiny bit bigger, but only a tiny amount. So the amount of wastage is nothing. And I'll put it in probably like there, and the bees will build the rest. So for me, that's still perfect. They'll only build it down to about there anyway. But it'll be in today and they'll be building it tonight. So I'm chuffed with that. These are my standard, I'm using brand new frames purely so I can write on them easily. The wires are tight and they'll go straight. And I haven't got time to scrape down old frames and repair them today. I'm just in too much of a hurry. So I'm using these brand new frames, but it's great. You know, they're pleased with that. It's a nice product. The bees will draw that up quick and we'll be away. There'll be loads and loads of drones. You can see I'm only having to trim off just a very tiny amount at the end. So absolutely spot on. So brilliant. First 10 done. Get the next lot done. Then I'm off to get these in hives. So I put this drone comb in 2 days ago, can't remember now. You can see they're drawn out beautifully. And I wouldn't be surprised if the queen's laid in it already, but if not, she'll be on it soon. But that's exactly what I wanted. They're even fixing the top in. They fixed the sides in. It's brilliant. Exactly what I like to see. Sides a little bit less. But those drones I can move to somewhere else. I don't have to have them, once it's laid up, I can move them to any colony. The main thing is I have the genetics from this queen. So I'm just going to have a huge amount of good quality drones flying around this apiary, and it'll cover a large radius so that I'm going to hopefully enhance the mating and the genetics in this area. Nothing's guaranteed, but it's a good start. And there she is, laying into it. Beautiful. So this was also a drone comb I put in. Slightly the same time as the one over there. But this time it's a little bit more advanced and the queen is on it laying into it. So you can see the whole apiary is just chaos. Total chaos. There's bees everywhere. It's all rather good. I'm really pleased. I've got to give my mini plus even more space. They're going to be like towering up now. It's just fantastic, but I've got to be careful because it really is on the point of everything could just swarm because there's just so little room. You've got to constantly give it space.